I see the red planet Mars is on the move. That can be good or bad. So what does it mean this time?
Yeah, Mars is changing signs, and it's interesting. It's the day, it's 52 minutes after midnight, the day after the election. So I'm not quite sure really what that means. I do know that Mars is going from Capricorn into Aquarius, and wherever Mars is where you're going to project your energy out into the world for the next 6 weeks or so. So for Scorpio, the sign that we're in, Mars going from Capricorn into Aquarius is into their fourth house of home, and it really calls for upsets at home. And I think that there are real problems for Scorpios at home over the next 6 weeks or so, which is not really good for Hillary Clinton. So for Sagittarians, it's in their third house of day-to-day living. They have spent a ton of money over the last 6 weeks or so, and now Mars is out of their second house of money into their third, which means that the pace of their day-to-day living picks up to warp speed. I mean, to literally where they have to really be careful to what do they agree to, because they won't have enough hours in the day to get to everything on their plate. For Capricorns, it's going from their first house of their physical self, so they've started a whole bunch of new projects, and now for the next 6 weeks, they spend a boatload of money on unanticipated expenses. So to Capricorns everywhere, I say fix it right the first time. Don't do it halfway, because it'll end up costing you more at the end of the road. For Aquarians, Mars is in their sign for the first time in 22 months, and they are fired up. This is the best new start for Aquarians in the last 3 years. So for them, it's all about the Aquarian getting what their wants and their needs are, and getting them met and being assertive while they're doing it, not just sitting back waiting for it to happen, but being proactive in that regard. For Pisces, it is a very difficult 6 weeks for them. Mars is in their 12th house of their own undoing, so they may find that their own energies work against them, and they have to be really careful not to let their ego get out of control, because if they do, it's going to end up biting them rather than anybody else. For Aries, this is a great place for Mars. It's in their 11th house of hopes, wishes, goals, and objectives. And they're going to take a group effort to bring the Aries what it is that the Aries wants. And it's going to take the help of their well-placed male friends rather than female friends. So for Tauruses, 10th house of career and public standing. Pat's life is about to pick up to warp speed. A lot of professional stuff going on. So I imagine for her, its Christmas wish is going to be taking her undivided attention. And the next 6 weeks are just chock full of activity and people noticing what they're doing. And if anybody offers to help Taurus, Taurus should say, yes, please, thank you.
And she would love that help.
They're going to need it. For Geminis, it's in the 9th house of the law. Legal matters, educational matters, important matters at a distance go very, very well for the Geminis. And I think for Donald Trump being a Gemini, there might be some kind of litigation going on, but there's a lot of travel for him as well. And he gets the answer he's been seeking one way or the other. For Cancers, it is in their 8th house of other people's resources. Much like Capricorns, they're spending a ton of money, but they're not spending a ton of money on their own expenses. This is other people's expenses, partners' expenses, resources that they share with other people are going to require some financial assistance. For Leos, 7th house of partners as well as open enemies, and Leos are about to be in the spotlight for one reason or another, and they are not going to back down. They have very powerful allies on their side, and they need to bring them to the fight.
Okay.
So, and they come out on top, which is a very cool thing to do.
I like to hear that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So for Virgos, it's in their 6th house of work and health, and it's just a matter of hard work for the Virgo. It's a matter of they've tried to set a whole bunch of things in motion over the last year, and now they get to see how that plays out for them. So, and if they have any health matters, they need to deal with them directly and no procrastinating on it. For Libras, the last sign, this is their favorite time of year. Every 22 months or so, Libras fall in love. They fall in love, they fall in lust, they love their kids. Anything that's fun is happening for Libra now. And it's a very creative time for them. And it's a very cool time for them. And they have more fun over the next 6 weeks than they've had like in the last year or so. So I don't think that's bad news for anyone really, unless you're a Scorpio.
Sounded pretty good to me. We'll see you next week.
Always a pleasure.